Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to this webinar. I am Bhavya Arora and I work as a security analyst for Safe Security. And today I'll be talking about the pitfalls of cloud computing, identifying and managing risk. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat box. Alternatively, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn post the webinar. So moving on to today's agenda, we'll be discussing about the current trends with respect to cloud computing, understanding why cloud computing has seen a surge in popularity, the different service models that we have in the cloud, and clearing out some doubts around the providers and the customer's responsibility. Next, I'll be taking you through the nature of cloud computing and how the advantages warrant different processes around the security and monitoring, which will provide us with a segue into some of the top security concerns that revolve around these delivery models. Following that, we will be discussing what actions can be taken to address these issues, whether they be using services within AWS or third-party tools. To conclude this session, we'll be discussing certain best practices that can be followed for a more robust cloud security posture. All right, so let's start talking about the current scenario. Here we can clearly see that the movement towards cloud has seen a clear trend in organizations due to the cost-effective and flexible solutions provided by cloud computing. Surveys show that 82% of companies today are using a hybrid cloud-based approach, with the number forecasted to grow significantly by the end of 2021. The onset of digital transformation has brought about a dynamic shift for system and network architects, as well as security professionals. However, the research done by Gartner estimates that 50% of enterprises will unknowingly and mistakenly have or will expose some of the elements of their public cloud infrastructure. But we need to understand what is pushing enterprises to a cloud-based delivery model. Why is there a need to move on from the traditional on-prem infrastructure? Let's discuss some of the differences of an on-prem environment by comparing to well-known service models in the cloud. So for anyone who is joining in late, you can post your questions, if any, in the chat box, and I'll be sure to take them up in the end. So here we have the shared responsibility model, which clearly shows how these service models can help to alleviate a lot of burden that comes with traditional on-prem environments. Due to the lack of physical resources and the logistical issues around them, cloud infrastructures provide a highly cost-effective and scalable solution for different needs. However, there might be a lack of understanding of the gray areas of the shared responsibility model. These gray areas are the causality of various myths around the security of cloud computing, and a clear understanding of customer responsibilities can help in clearing those. So let's start with server-based instances or infrastructure as a service. You will often assume full responsibility of identity and directory infrastructure, whether you're using OS level identity directories like Microsoft Active Directory or LDAP. You have or you opt for a third-party identity directory solution. Secondly, we have application and the corresponding data that also comes under the customer responsibility in an IaaS. Network controls, your provider only maintains the network that is directly under their control. All networking above the virtualization layer is to be handled by customer. That includes the security configuration, monitoring, and processes around that. Next, we have the operating system. With server-based instances, the OS level patching and maintenance is the customer's responsibility. You'll have to have a security policy that deals with penetration testing, configuration audit, and a regular patch management process to ensure that the cloud resources are secured. In case of a serverless and a PaaS instance, a control plane is provided for configuration, which takes a lot of burden off the customer as they are only responsible for configuring that service in a secure manner. For example, in a platform as a service environment, you often have the opportunity to choose an operating system, but your provider maintains responsibility around the OS patching and security management and things around that. Just for anyone who's not aware of some of the examples of these service models, under SaaS, we have Google Apps, Dropbox, Salesforce. Under platform as a service, we have AWS Elastic Beanstalk and Google App Engine. And under infrastructure as a service, we have DigitalOcean, AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Compute Services. This brings us on to the nature of cloud computing and why it warrants a proactive approach to security and monitoring. It is important to understand the need for identity and access management. Since the cloud can be changed with the press of a button, and it is essentially a database, a data center on wheels, unlike an on-prem environment, systems and services can be spun up in a matter of seconds. And while that may be one of the advantages of the service model, it is imperative to have strict control over the control plane, namely the console and the APIs. In addition to protecting these elements from unauthorized access, we must also be wary of misconfigurations that can be introduced as part of the infrastructure at any point in time, some of which we will get into going forward. Secondly, we need to understand the difference between on-premise and cloud services, and the technologies need to be understood by system and network admins. The technology is different, and so are the challenges. The advantages of cloud bring certain challenges in a way where the scalability and volatility of resources warrant a need for constant monitoring, change management processes, and technology-specific processes around inventory collection and management, which takes us to our next topic for the discussion, which is the top security concerns. The lack of cloud-specific processes around inventory collection and management aggravate the issue of lack of visibility. Lack of visibility here, we are referring to cloud workloads and accounts that are being created outside of IT visibility, which is often just referred to as shadow IT. Shadow IT is the creation and use of IT systems and services that have not been approved by the concerned department. Needless to say, it has grown up exponentially in the recent years with the adoption of cloud-based service models due to the flexibility they provide. This in turn shines a light on related issues with inventory management. Regular automated inventory checks are an absolute necessity with cloud environments, which cannot be achieved with traditional tools that are designed for network visibility. Additionally, some organizations lack cloud-focused processes that can further aggravate the issue and limit an organization's ability to monitor the cloud resources and protect them against attacks. So here we have a situation. What if your management asks you for an overview of the cloud exposure that the organization has as of right now, as of today? And what about the security misconfigurations around those assets? An automated solution is required to answer these questions, and as we progress further, we will discuss some options. Moving on to another concern that we have is misconfiguration. As we have already covered, cloud infrastructure is designed to be easily usable and enable easy data sharing. But this brings a concern for organizations to ensure that data is only accessible to authorized parties. Also, organizations do not have complete visibility of the changes that are happening in the infrastructure. These misconfigurations can be as small as not encrypting an SNS topic or as big as having publicly accessible objects in S3 buckets, the severity of which cannot always be correctly assessed by automated tools and services. Since many organizations are unfamiliar with securing cloud infrastructure and often have multi-cloud deployments, each with their own security services and tools, it is easy for security oversight to leave an organization's infrastructure open to the world. Another top security concern is unauthorized access. The cloud is a new frontier, right? A new service for people, but attackers still look for traditional attack vectors, such as misplaced credentials, or in the case of cloud, compromised access keys. The need for securing the control plane cannot be stressed enough. Unauthorized access can be through inadequately protected credentials, lack of automated rotation of crypto keys, passwords, or certificates, lack of scalability, failure to use MFA, failure to use strong passwords. Also, cloud resources allow for an easy method of sharing data, but these actions should be regularly monitored to ensure only approved services are used for the same. For example, ob- objects can be hosted on S3 buckets that can be accessible even if the bucket does not allow anonymous listing. Here, we have a problem that is data leakage. Security controls need to be granular to cover such scenarios. Another potential issue here is that of insider threats. The principle of least privilege is ought to be followed when creating IAM policies, and any change in those should be configured to create alerts. Lastly, we have insecure APIs. Cloud providers often provide a number of APIs and interfaces for the customers. In addition, these interfaces are well documented in an attempt to make them easily usable for CSP's customers. However, this creates potential issues if these APIs are not secured. Now that we have covered the top security concerns, I would like to take you through what can be done to protect against them. We'll be starting off with services within AWS that focus on security, identity, and compliance, and then moving on to third party solutions that can help with the same. Starting off with AWS Security Hub. What is it? AWS Security Hub is a service that gives a comprehensive view of security alerts and compliance status across AWS accounts. With Security Hub, you now have a single place that aggregates, organizes, and prioritizes your security alerts or findings from multiple AWS services such as Amazon Guard Duty, Amazon Inspector, and Macie, as well as from third party AWS partner solutions. With Security Hub, you can run automated, continuous account level configuration and compliance checks based on industry standards and best practices such as the Center for Internet Security AWS Foundation's benchmark, AWS Foundation Security Best Practices, and PCI DSS standard. Moving on to the multitude of security services and third party integration that we have in Security Hub. Starting off with AWS config, when enabled, records the configuration for all resource types within your AWS accounts at that point in time. These are referred to as configuration items. The configuration item history that the AWS captures enables secure analysis, resource change tracking, and compliance auditing. Another integration that we can have is AWS Firewall Manager, which is used to centrally configure and manage AWS WAF rules across your accounts and applications. It can also be used as a protection for DDoS attacks. Next, we have Amazon Inspector. Amazon Inspector automatically assesses application and related infrastructure for exposure, vulnerabilities, deviation from best practices. It gives us any CVs that may be pertaining to any asset, which can help us identify any critical vulnerabilities that may have been introduced in the environment. Moving on to IAM Access Analyzer. This helps us to identify resources in the organizations and AWS accounts such as Amazon S3 buckets or IAM roles that are shared with an external entity. This can help us identify unintended access to resources and data, which may be a security risk. Lastly, we have Amazon Guard Duty, which is a region-based intelligent threat and detection service. This service allows you to monitor your AWS accounts for unusual and unexpected behavior by analyzing CloudTrail event logs, VPC flow logs, and DNS logs. It then uses that data from logs and assesses them against multiple security and threat detection feeds, looking for any anomalies and known malicious sources. Now, this integration can be used in multiple ways. You can use these services as per your needs and in conjunction with each other to fulfill certain purposes that you might have. For example, CloudFormation stacks along with AWS config can be configured to detect any configuration changes, and then guard duty can be used to send alerts to Security Hub for you to review. Another example would be to enable IAM access analyzer on a CloudTrail trail, which can help to implement least privilege permissions by generating IAM policies based on CloudTrail logs. These findings can then be sent to CloudWatch, which provides you with data and actionable items to monitor your applications, respond to system-wide performance changes, optimize resource utilization, and get a unified view of operational health. Additionally, to integrate this process with the DevOps or DevSecOps pipeline, CloudWatch can then be configured to send these updates to Jira for tracking, monitoring, and closing any potential issues that you may encounter. So these were some of the services that are part of AWS. What about third-party tools? Apart from these AWS services, we have multiple tools such as CrowdStrike, Prowler, Qualys that have different functions and can be similarly integrated within Security Hub, the specifics of which we will cover going forward. So just to give you an overview of how Security Hub looks, so we have here the Security Hub dashboard. Once you have enabled Security Hub and configured AWS config to review the configuration for the multiple services that you use, an overview of the security posture can be found in the summary section. This shows you the security standards that are being followed, the key action areas that need immediate attention. The integrations tab shows us the various services and third-party products that are supported by Security Hub. These settings can be configured on multiple AWS accounts for a better or a holistic view of your cloud infrastructure security posture. Under findings, we have a resource and service specific issues that can be filtered out using a multitude of ways. Here we can see certain examples of findings that can be expected from different services that are being used. For more information around these controls and their remediations, you can find links of each of these in the references section. So when we have a multitude of services that are reporting findings, it becomes a challenge to sift through that data and prioritize what needs to be patched first, what needs to be looked at first, right? A handy feature that AWS provides here is Insight. This can be help to filter out noise and created insights can be created to focus on specific types of controls or specific types of resources that may be more critical than others. So what are some of the third-party solutions that we have for achieving the same? Starting from the CapEx tools, we have CSPMs, CWPPs, and CASBs, which are cloud security posture management tools, cloud workload protection platforms. Starting with CSPMs, they can automate a lot of these processes that we have just discussed around cloud inventory collection and updation by providing continuous visibility of multi-cloud environments to identify cloud misconfigurations and vulnerabilities. They enable fast incident response with visualization of the security posture, misconfiguration detection, enforcement of security cloud policies, which can in turn help to drive effective cloud security operations and agile security that is integrated within your DevSecOps or DevOps practices. Next, we have cloud workload protection platforms. CWPP provides a workload-centric security protection solution for all types of workloads, including physical servers, virtual machines, containers, and serverless workloads. It furnishes a single pane of glass for visibility and protection across on-premises and cloud environments. The third type of CapEx tool that we have is CASB, known as Cloud Access Security Broker. These solutions are implemented for the purpose of extending in-house visibility into cloud environments. CASBs are located between on-premise and cloud infrastructures. Now, the differences may seem confusing here. So to get a better understanding of the high-level differences of these products and which will be right for you, it is important to know the use cases. For example, a CASB should be considered if the goal is to control and have visibility about the enterprise usage of SaaS applications, configuration assessments of IaaS and PaaS deployments, and the visibility around those can be covered by a CSPM. And if the goal is to protect data and application on IaaS and PaaS, you probably need a CWPP. I hope the differences are clear here. Moving on to the non-CapEx tools that we have. Starting off with Prowler. Prowler is a command line tool that helps you with AWS security assessment, auditing, hardening, and incident response. It follows the guidelines of the CIS Amazon Web Services Foundation benchmark, similar to Security Hub. But in addition, it has checks related to identity and access management, logging and monitoring, networking, forensics, and such. It also covers controls pertaining to ISO 27001, FFIEC, SOC 2, and ENS compliance standards. Prowler can also be integrated and send findings directly to Security Hub. Also, it is possible to run specific checks on specific groups or create specific groups that need to be checked with Prowler. Multiple AWS accounts can also be checked parallelly using Prowler, which takes a lot of the effort out of running these tools. Next, we have is CloudSuite, which is an open source multi-cloud security auditing tool which enables security posture assessment of cloud assessments. Using the APIs provided by cloud providers, CloudSuite gathers configuration data for manual inspection and highlights certain key risk areas. It also consolidates the data of the infrastructure and presents a clear view of the attack surface. The next tool that we have is Electric Eye. The usage of this is for continuous monitoring. This can be configured to continuously monitor your AWS services for configurations that can lead to degradation of confidentiality, integrity, or availability. Electric Eye can also be integrated with Security Hub for a better visibility or of any potential security concerns. The last two tools that we have, AWS Inventory and Cloud Mapper, are inventory tools that can help you to capture your inventory and visualize your cloud inventory and architecture. The links to all of these tools will be mentioned in the references. So here we have a glimpse of the output that can be expected with Prowler. You can run Prowler by setting up the prerequisites and configure the AWS credentials in your AWS credentials file or declare them in the AWS variables. These findings can also be converted into HTML format or even CSV, JUnit, JSON formats reports for a clearer representation of the security findings, as can be seen here. As mentioned before, these findings can then send directly to Security Hub. All right, to conclude this session, let's go over some of the best practices that should be followed with respect to cloud computing. So as we discussed, understanding the gray areas of the shared cloud responsibilities is very important, as this can help in identifying problem areas and coming up with processes and solutions for them. Secondly, we have the encryption data at rest as well as in transit, whether they be encrypting RDS snapshots or enforcing the use of SSL for requests to S3 buckets. Thirdly, we have monitoring your cloud environment for security threats. As we have already established, a proactive approach to monitoring is very, very important in the cloud due to its elastic nature, and automated processes should be in place for the same. The principle of least privilege should be enforced to eliminate misconfiguration and insider threats. And managing this access control becomes imperative in a cloud service model. Next, we have performing routine pen tests. It is important to validate the effectiveness of the current processes and controls that have been implemented. Regular penetration tests can aid in understanding the gaps and should be part of any well-rounded security policy. Last but not the least, you have training your employees on cloud security practices. As per the MITRE framework, phishing is still one of the vectors that can be used to gain an initial foothold of the cloud environment. Training your employees on this ever developing technology is just as important as technical controls. So these are some of the references that can be found for the tools that I talked about. Also, the controls that AWS follows for their compliance checks. To know how we are solving these issues at Safe Security, you can reach out to us for a quick demo. You can find the link for registering a request in the chat box. So I'll be taking up questions right now, if there are any. All right, seems like we don't have any questions. So that's all I have for today. Thank you for taking your time out for tuning in. Stay safe.